Welcome back to the Out of the Rough podcast presented by We Know Fantasy. As always, my name is Nate with We Know Fantasy, and joining me as always is my co-host Jake. Jake, how are we doing today?
We're doing pretty good, Nate. You know, good playoff. I'm glad to see Scotty Scheffler not win. Tommy gets his first win.
Insane.
Some people put an asterisk next to it. Personally, if you're gonna win one tournament on the PGA Tour, you might as well take home the $10 million purse. So Tommy was just saving it up for his family there. But we had probably one of the most remarkable PGA Tour seasons like in recent history, just with like staple wins. Rory wins the Masters, Cam Young gets his first win, Tommy Fleetwood gets his first PGA Tour victory. It's one of those where like the stars just aligned this season. Overall, it was just a great watch. Very happy for Tommy, happy for all those guys I mentioned before. Um, but just overall, great season, Nate.
Yeah, a lot of people talking down about the playoff and the ending of it because it doesn't like favor the regular season at all at this point. And I mean, it still does, right? Scotty Scheffler still made off with $15 million for leading the points going into the playoff, then leading the points going into the tour championship. So there's that aspect of things. But man, you talk about like pretty much all American sports. The playoff system has basically nothing to do with the regular season. Like you just have to get yourself to the playoffs, then just be hot at the right time, and you could win this. And that's exactly what Tommy Fleetwood
Right.
did. He's was in contention from the FedEx to BMW all the way through. Same thing. Just you got to show up when you got to show up, and it happens that way. But I mean, it was a better spectacle than watching Scotty Scheffler start with -10 and go on to win for the second straight
Yeah.
season. Like it made a better viewership. I do get the argument about lack thereof in terms of the regular season importance because of this, but in the same sense, it made a better viewership. And the regular season still counted. He still got $15 million on top of everything else because of
Right.
what he did. And if it was with the starting strokes, he would have won by one stroke. I think it came down to. So there's that. But I don't know. I like it. I like it. I like the change, and it's a more traditional, I guess, in our dumb American mind, in terms of a sports playoff. But there's that. But beyond that, Jake, we have a pressing issue or pressing topic, I guess we can talk about here today, and that's Team USA Ryder Cup nominations coming out as you listen to this Wednesday morning. They will be out in approximately 4 hours if you're listening to this at 7 a.m. when it comes out. 11 a.m. Keegan Bradley to name the Ryder Cup six beyond the six auto qualifiers, and of course September 1st, not Justin Rose, but the Team Europe will be announced at that point. So a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. Of course, this Ryder Cup we'll get into it. I'm really excited for this one. Obviously, we're both going to be in person there. So there's a lot to do with that. But I think there's just more to this Ryder Cup than there ever has been. But we'll get to that here shortly. But before we do have a thanks, Jake, for putting on social media.
Yep, you can find me at DJ Friedman on Twitter. I put all of my content there. Also, be sure to join our Discord. Completely free to join, no hidden paywalls once you're in there. A great community of coming up on 200 members now. Very active,
300.
great. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yep. And just, it's just the best. I mean, any topic you can come up with golf related. There's so much information. Everyone, a wide range of people who are experts and do this professionally, and just casual people who love the sport of golf. It's really just a great place to be. So again, completely free to join. Reach out to Nate or myself, and we can get you in there.
Yeah, definitely a great tool to have at your fingertips. It's a great community we've developed there, and not all just us developing, but in the sense of it's just a wonderful place to be from all aspects of betting, not only golf but everything, just becoming a better overall. In the same sense. So be sure to check it out, guys. It's free, 100% free, no hidden paywalls, completely. Just get the link and you're in. Oh, you can follow myself, Nate, on Twitter at WKFNate. Be sure to follow We Know Fantasy on all forms of social media at We Know Fantasy. Be sure to visit WeKnowFantasy.com for some more fantasy sports content, fantasy baseball, basketball, football, NASCAR, golf, everything in between. We have you covered. On there, my PGA Tour, DP World Tour, and LPGA weekly articles can be found, as well as Live if Live is going. Trying to do more of the LPGA Live weekly articles on there, but for most of it, or PGA Tour DP World Tour each and every week, PGA Tour DFS breakdown if you're looking for that. And on top of that, yeah, really in-depth breakdowns of all those courses, events, everything along the way. I scrambled all those words up. Either way, Jake, that's enough of that. We've had the conclusion of the one and done for Out of the Rough. Congratulations to the three winners. I don't have those in front of me, We'll be reaching out to you here shortly to get some prizes out to you. Um, Beyond that, we will be doing an exclusive fall series, Out of the Rough One and Done, to keep things interested and peeked through that aspect of things. So be on the lookout for that. That's just separate from the other ones, and has a small prize into that for the overall winner. But yeah, fall series is fast approaching. We still have a bunch of golf to talk about, and none more important than the Ryder Cup this week. Not this week, but we're talking about it this week. The Team USA is named today as you listen to this. Ryder Cup is approximately a month away. 4 weeks, I think the math adds up to be. That old Bethpage Black there in Long Island, New York. I guess I don't know what's it, Farmington, Farmingdale, something like
Farmingdale,
that.
yeah,
Farmingdale. So I guess let's just hop right into it, Jake. I am beyond excited for this event. Again, I've talked about
yeah,
100 times because I talk about it to anyone and everyone that listens to me. We will be in attendance there on Sunday. Fired up for that, watching singles and hopefully watching Team USA lift that trophy at the end. But there's just something to this Ryder Cup that seems bigger than any other. I think
yeah,
golf is in a spot where maybe not in terms of viewership, but golf is like peaking. Like it's the cool thing to do now.
yep,
Speaking of like just relatively speaking, my small rural America high school, when I was in high school, we had maybe 5 kids on the golf team. Like I didn't even know we had a golf team. And this year there's 25 kids on the golf team. Like just that here in small town USA, it's a I forget the exact stat, but millions of people last year or this year, I guess, have played golf for the first time. Viewership on not peaking at the highest because when Tiger was in the prime, that was a prime viewership in terms of numbers, but it's getting up there. Like we're
yeah.
seeing, I mean, at least the best in decades since Tiger's dominance back then in terms of viewership. But golf is in a special place right now, and then it all comes down to this Ryder Cup, on U.S. soil, and this one just being in New York seems fitting, right? I think we're going to see some very passionate fans.
Yeah.
It's going to feel like less corporate than say if it's in like Los Angeles or somewhere like that. Like we're going to get some passionate fans behind the thing, and just the fact that Europe romped USA last time out. Europe is one of 8 of the last 13. Like there's a chip on the Team USA's shoulder, and they've tried to rebrand themselves with this Keegan Bradley appointment as the captain, and it's a really big deal right now, and I'm beyond excited for it. Jake, do you have any input in that aspect of things before we hop into team announcements?
I just think I'm just so ready for it, honestly, Nate. And like you said, it's going to be a rowdy crowd, like probably more rowdy than we've seen in years past. New York is pretty wild. It's going to be one of those that we'll talk about Team Europe's team, but they have some hotheads that like the crowd could very easily get under their
Yeah,
skin and
Robert
just
McIntyre.
drive them. Yeah, really. Just get them riled up and get them pissed off and get in their heads, really. I'm just so excited for it, Nate. I can't wait to dive into it more.
Yeah, just think about it. Like this is a city or a state that has supported the New York Jets for how long and continues to be passionate about that poverty franchise.
Yep.
Same like the New York Mets and all of that. Like just imagine that, and then actually putting them in front, the 12 best golfers in the United States. But as we do in this podcast here, when there is a Ryder Cup, we will go through, we will name our Team USA pick six, that will be announced today. We'll do the same for Team Europe. And of course, we still have a DP World Tour event we'll highlight real quick at the end there for the Omega European Masters. And it's a big one. It's not like it's a small, DP World Tour event. All these remaining DP World Tour events are pretty big at this aspect. So either way, so let's just run through this. Team USA, we have automatic qualifiers of Scotty Scheffler, JJ Spawn, Xander Schauffele, Russell Henley, Harris English, and Bryson DeChambeau. Jake, how do you feel about this 6 automatic qualifiers? Of course, you got to feel good about the Scotties, the Xanders, the Bryson. I know Xander isn't in the best spot in terms of golf, but we're still talking about, in my opinion, the second best golfer in the world when Xander Schauffele is healthy. So there's that. But it's a really unique combination. Of course, JJ Spawn, that U.S. Open champion. You have Russell Henley, who has littered top 5 and top 10s this entire season. And same with Harris English, who has been ultimately in the top 5 in like every major except the Masters this season. But how do you feel about this 6 for Team USA?
I feel great. I think all 6 of these guys would have been taken even if they didn't automatic qualify. I mean, some questions against, Spawn and English, but JJ Spawn, really put it on
Oh,
the table for lack of better terms to win a US Open. He deserves to be there. Um, but look, when you think of Bethpage Black, you think of bomber's paradise, right? And that's not the profile of Russell Henley or Harris English. Harris English has played his best golf this season on long, challenging courses, which doesn't make any sense, but it's Bethpage Black. It's a long, challenging course, and English has proven that he could do it this year. So I'm all for it.
Yeah, I used to be one to really question like if Russell Henley could compete and be a benefit to Team USA on this golf course. But you mentioned it right there. It's long, but it's also super challenging. And you have these guys like Harris English and Russell Henley who are excellent fairway finders, approach players, and strong putters along the way. So limiting mistakes, and you don't need to, go eagle in every hole or birdie in every
Right.
hole to win a Ryder Cup match, right? You just need to limit your mistakes and get your pars when you need to and scramble really well and make some good putts. And I think those two can really do it. And then if you talk about in the sense of foursomes and four balls, or more so foursomes, if you pair them with a bomber, right, and you get them the plus distance
Yeah.
where every other tee they're getting, mashed off and then they can approach, right in and putt right in, it'd be a fantastic matchup. But yeah, I'm happy about these six. I don't think we can say anything about it because they automatically qualified. Like, I
Right.
don't think
They
we can
deserve
argue
it.
against this six. Yeah, they're technically the six best golfers the United States have to offer throughout the season. But yeah, there's that, and we'll move on from there.
Yep.
So, Ryder Cup, if you guys are not familiar, and I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you definitely are. It's a team format. You start with Saturday and Sunday being four balls and foursomes. Four ball is you play your own ball, the lowest score of the two gets counted. Foursomes is alternate shot. One person tees off on even holes, one person tees off on odd holes. Pretty simple score, and then you have singles at the end. That's basically it. So let's get into our pick six, and I'll just kick it off here. And I think this is pretty much the safest of them all, an automatic lock, and that's Justin Thomas.
Yep.
He was just outside that qualifying line. Very well could have been an automatic qualifier, but man, three Ryder Cups, 7-4-2. You want that experience? He has almost doubled his wins than losses in the Ryder Cup. He is as locked as they come, in my opinion, for Team USA. Jake,
Yeah, he was the first name on my list here. I think he suits this course really well,
he does.
especially long off the tee, elite approach player. Short game's been incredible. The driving accuracy is where Justin Thomas tends to struggle, but overall, a great season for Justin Thomas with a win at the RBC. Like you said, very easily could have qualified, but I think he's going to be one of the first calls that Keegan makes to let him know that he made the team.
Yeah, and you think about that victory at the RBC Heritage, and that's a short positional golf course. That's not really Justin Thomas's forte, and goes on to win that event. So it's nice to see the adaptation. I know it's not, that's not a direct correlation to what Bethpage Black is to offer, but it's good to see that he's able to, adapt his golf game to whatever course he's on and still find the winning circle in that way.
Yep.
But all right, I don't know how controversial we want to get right away here, Jake. So I guess, I mean, Team USA is so unique. I don't know. There are some, you got to take this into account, right? There's going to be a multitude of rookies on this team. You're going to have JJ Spawn, Russell Henley because they're automatic qualifiers, right? Those are two rookies right out of the gate. Then you have to try to balance if you want to have that many rookies because you think of Team Europe who had a plethora of rookies in Rome 2 years ago and then ran the table with Team USA, but they're returning almost, in my opinion, that entire squad except one or two people possibly. So they're going to have maybe one rookie on that squad. So you got to think about that. But uh, man, I'm
I'll
gonna.
I'll rattle off a name here,
Okay,
Nate.
give me a name. Give me a
It's a
name.
it's a little, I mean, I don't think it's controversial at all. I think Patrick Cantlay needs to be on
Yes.
this
Oh,
team.
yep.
I
He's
think
on my
he's going to
list.
be the second name.
Yep.
He is just, if you go back to everything, he's going to play that villain role,
Yep.
right? He's the USA villain. Nobody really likes him. Even, I mean, I assume some of the players, Xander and Cantlay, are known to be really good friends here, but slow pace of play. I would love if Keegan put him with John Rahm to fucking stick the knife in, part of my language, and just drive him nuts. Like if can't like I would say wait till a rules official comes over and tells you that you need to hurry it up. Waggle those freaking legs, Patrick, and get under John Rahm's skin and make him wait to hit his shots. He's played Bethpage Black once. He finished T3 in that 2019 PGA Championship that Brooks won. And he fits his course so well. He's meant for Ryder Cup. I think he's the second guy on my team.
Yep. Right there with you. He's on my squad, and you think about it, he has played two Ryder Cups. Excuse me, I'm trying to get my mouse to work here. He is where is he at? 5-2-1 in two Ryder Cups. Add in he is at a President's Cup. He's played in three of them. He's 15, 6, and 1 in this format. You need that type of player on your team. And you mentioned it, the villain era. We want to see him maybe not with John Rahm, but versus Rory McIlroy and get back to the old Hatgate situation
Yeah.
and the caddies nearly fighting on the green there in Rome. We need that. And you mentioned it. A lot of people wanted Patrick Reed on this Ryder Cup team because of this spot, because of what we need and the brash American ignorance and arrogance, I guess, excuse me. And Patrick Cantlay definitely has that. And I mean, at the Tour Championship, he was warned for slow play, and he just said, "Okay, whatever," and continued to play slow play. Like he's not
Yeah.
going to be like, "Oh, sorry, I need to hurry up." He's going to get under your skin, and he's going to be in your face about it. And absolutely love that. And again, he's fantastic in these formats. And it's known him and Xander are fantastic pairing. Like they won the team event in the PGA Tour. That's Zurich Classic. They won that a few years ago, and they're great friends. And I think you got to at least have them play together in one matchup this in this Ryder Cup. But yes, Patrick Cantlay is definitely on my list there.
Yep.
All right, so oh man,
This is where it starts to get a little dicey. Like,
yeah.
I think there's a couple guys that you can make the argument for in these next four slots. So I mean, do you
All
want me
right,
to throw a name?
I'll rip the Band-Aid off. I'm going Colin Morikawa. I know this
Wow.
is like one of the most controversial what to do with Colin Morikawa in this aspect, but man, when you look down to it, and those who could possibly be on this team, he has like the third best Ryder Cup record at 4-3-1. He's eighth in the team ranking, so it's not like he's 12th, 11th, even like Patrick Cantlay's like 16th, and we're like he's an automatic qualifier essentially. He's still eighth on the list, so he's two spots out of an automatic qualifier spot. I know it hasn't been the Colin Morikawa that we're used to seeing and winning. And 2023 was his last win, I believe, the Zozo. It's been a long time, but we're still talking about a world-class iron player who plays these type of events. I mean, he's not long off the tee, but he's always competitive. He's a two-time major champion along the way and a two-time Ryder Cup guy with a winning record at the Ryder Cup. I think you need this, experience because you already have two rookies on that qualifying, and then spoiler alert, I have at least one or two more rookies coming up on my list. So I know there's this whole thing of leave Colin Morikawa at home. I can't do it. I can't go in the Ryder Cup without Colin Morikawa. I'm sorry. There's no way in the world, in my opinion, that this man is not a top 12 golfer that Team USA has to offer. Sorry.
Yeah, he I'll talk about the other guy. He's in my last slot right now as making the team. I cannot see Keegan going without
No,
Morikawa
you
in
can't.
this. I I'll, we'll talk about this guy. I know that we'll get around to him, but like you said, Morikawa, his struggles have been with the short game. His irons are still crisp as ever. He smacks fairways with, very rather consistently. He's not super long off the tee, but he's not that short either. Like he hasn't played Bethpage Black, it doesn't look like, according to my records here, but it's just the iron play is just so good for Morikawa. He is in my last slot as making the Team USA, but I think it's dicey. I don't think Colin is counting on it, and I think that might just give him that added motivation when he gets that call, that excitement of why he plays golf and why he's here to make a show and really just show out for the team.
For sure. And again, I can't emphasize enough. He's eighth in the Team USA list. Again, he's
Yeah.
not 20th. We're talking about, oh, should Colin Moore come in the team? He's, two spots away. Very well could automatically qualified this year. But either way. All right. I think we're down. We have what, the same first three I think we talked about, at least on our list, at
Yeah.
least three spots left. Jake, give me a name here.
Yeah, I'm going with Sam Burns here. I've been
Yep.
calling his name since the beginning of time to play because he is a bomber putter.
Mm-hmm.
And he is
Mm-hmm.
so good with the putter that if he's playing alt shot and Morikawa makes the team, they need to put them together. So that way Morikawa sticks it to 8 feet and Burns just drains every freaking putt. Look, it's not going to shake out like that every time where Burns is going to leave Morikawa a 40 footer and it's going to be a little dicey there for the team. But he just Sam Burns fits Bethpage Black just so perfectly. He's had a very solid end of the season. It was pretty shaky to start, but he really got it together. He's one of the best putters, if not the best putter on the PGA Tour. The irons have really turned a corner. He's gained in like seven of his last nine with them. Also, just off the tee playing incredible. I can't see them going without Burns here.
Yeah, he's on my team as well. And you talked about it right. These major setup courses, you need to bomb and you need to putt. And he has that rare combination of plus distance with elite putting. And statistically speaking, he's the best putter on the PGA Tour this entire season. and you think about what he's done at some of these big events, T7th at the US Open, T4th at the BMW, T7th at the Tour Championship. He has what it takes here. He's competed. I know the victory has eluded him, but it's the same thing. You don't need to win on the PGA Tour to be a world class golfer. I mean, look at Tommy Fleetwood, who's what, this is his third or fourth Ryder Cup, and he just won for the first time. So I love what Sam Burns brings to the table. And you mentioned it, when you get into these foursome matchups, he's going to be a difference maker when you come down to the 18th green and you need to make a 13-footer to win the match. It put the USA up a pole point, and it's Sam Burns out there with the putter in his hand. You don't want anyone else on this team except Sam Burns with that putter in his hand. So he's on my squad. That locked us down to, I think we're at 10 people now. So
Two
this
left.
is this is really where it gets controversial. Just a few names that, could be here. I don't know if you would consider like a Chris Gotterup or someone along that thing. I don't think I mean, obviously with
No.
these names I'm about to offer, I don't think you can even argue that at this point. So I
Yeah.
guess
If Goddard
we'll
played well the last 2 weeks, I could see him in the conversation and not
yes.
making it, but he really played himself out these
Yep.
last couple
Yep.
weeks.
For just if we ended after the open, sure, we'd probably be,
Yeah.
clamoring at the bits to get him in here. I mean, you even look at this list here: Brian Harmon's 12th, Maverick Neely's 10th, possible if you want to get into that range. But I'll give you a name here, Jake. There's two names left, and I know one of them you're not on about, so we'll go with this one. And I'm not sure if you're on him as well, but Ben Griffin needs to be on this team.
100%.
Needs to be on this team. So we're talking, this will be our third rookie here with Ben Griffin. Two wins in the season, two or top 10s at the PGA Championship, US Open, runner up at the Memorial. This dude has been playing lights out golf. And man, he is such a great putter as well. He has some slight distance off the tee. His irons have been scorching, and his putter is elite on the PGA Tour. You gotta take a page out of Team Europe from last year or 2 years ago. They were not scared to bring in these young guys, these rookies, to go up against, the daunting Team USA that had all these Goliaths on their squad, and just they won it by halfway through Saturday. Like, it wasn't even close. So
Yeah.
Ben Griffin needs to be on this squad. There's no doubt about it. So that gives me 11 guys with Ben Griffin included.
Yeah, Nate, this is the one I feel most passionately about. I think if Ben Griffin doesn't make the team, it's going to be the biggest heist in probably Ryder Cup history, and that's including Keegan last time.
Yes.
And I think that would be just oh, Zach Johnson didn't put me on the team, so I'm not putting Ben Griffin on the team. I think that would be truly the dumbest thing I've
Oh my
ever
God.
seen. He has 10 top 15 finishes in his last 12 starts. This guy has been gaining across the board everywhere. He's plus distance off the tee. I know he's a rookie and he hasn't played Bethpage Black, but he's literally having one of the best back half of the PGA Tour seasons outside of Scotty Scheffler. It would be criminal if he did not make this team.
Yeah. If we'll get into this, but if Keegan names himself over Ben Griffin,
Oh my God. No, that's
we can't. All
no.
right, all right, yeah, we're agreed on, and I think this last spot's the one we're going to disagree on here, Jake. And I have
Yeah.
Cam Young in this spot because he finally got that win at the Wyndham Championship. Right, he was fifth at the FedEx St. Jude, 11th at the BMW, T4th at the Tour Championship. Grew up in upstate New York, familiar with the area, familiar with the golf course, and on top of that, he's always had an excellent major record. He's competed for U.S. Opens, PGA Tour Championships across the board. Of course, never won them, but he's always, he plays that game. He plays the bomb and gouge, competent putter, all everything you need for a PGA Tour, or excuse me, for a major. So then that puts me at four rookies. And of course, the most glaring absence in my list here would be Captain Keegan himself, which I'm not sure if you have him listed here. So I guess we'll hop over there. But Cam Young's number 12 for me. And I think that win really is going to loosen things up for Cam Young. There's going to be a lot more wins. Maybe not a lot more. There are more wins in the locker now for Cam Young.
Yeah.
I'm once you get that first win, same with Tommy Fleetwood. Tommy Fleetwood could have won 100 tournaments by now
Yeah.
if he could hold a four-stroke lead. Even this year, he'd be like a four-time winner if he could do that. But
Yeah.
either way, my 12 there. We got who would we go with? We have Justin Thomas, Colin Morikawa, Ben Griffin, Sam Burns, Cam Young, and Patrick Cantlay. Jake, I'm sure at this point we know who your number 12 is here.
Yeah, for me, Cam Young is in that question mark with Morikawa, and I'm on the team of leaving Cam Young at home here just because I look, The recent form's incredible. He is a perfect fit for Bethpage Black. So I have zero problem with him making the team whatsoever because I think that he would be incredible on this team. But it kind of feels like a Chris Goddard up where like he was never in the question, in my opinion, to make the team until he got that win at the Wyndham. And he kind of played himself in over the last couple of weeks with some good form. And I don't know how heavily you really want to weight that. Like, I think you should. And I think I'm almost leaning towards bringing Cam Young over Morikawa at this point, but I think fully that Keegan Bradley has played his way onto this team and he deserves to be on it. I know that, look, you have a playing captain. It's kind of splitting your responsibility here, right? You're going to be up all night making your matchups, game planning, and then you have to tee off in the morning and afternoon some days and just like it's going to be a grind for Keegan over the last, over those couple of days for the Ryder Cup. But he won the Travelers. He got snubbed last time. I think that he's had a good enough season where he deserves it. And I also think that there is some advantage to having a playing captain here where he sees the conditions, he knows exactly, instead of just, sideline coaching, which I think that a lot of these guys can do because, they've golfed, they know the situations they're in, but actually physically hitting and playing in those situations can be advantageous to Team USA if he makes the team. I would hope that in certain situations that he pulls himself out and kind of benches himself in spots that if he can. But overall, I have Keegan in that spot, and my question mark is Morikawa over Cam Young. So I think what I'm gonna do here, my six picks are Justin Thomas, Patrick Cantlay, Sam Burns, Ben Griffin, Keegan Bradley, and I think I'm going Cam Young and leaving Morikawa at home after thinking about it more.
Okay. Yep. My only argument with Keegan Bradley is, does he deserve to be on this team? Absolutely. He should have been on the last year's team, or 2 years ago. I keep saying last year. The last edition of the Ryder Cup definitely was the biggest snub of that team. And I feel like the committee kind of tried to make amends with Keegan by naming him as the captain this time around. In doing so, I don't think they expected him to come down to this point where he could be a player. I don't think that crossed their
Yeah,
minds because there's a lot of players who kind of fell off a lot, right? There's some guys that you would have expected to be at this point that aren't here, and we're talking about Colin Morikawa as a potential absentee from this team, and you never would have expected that in 2023.
no,
Same thing with like a Patrick Cantlay, those type of guys, like whatever. I think there's more to being a captain than what leads, you know, out there to be. And Keegan even said when he first got appointed to this, the only way he would play, he would never name himself. He would only do it if he were to automatically qualify, which he did not. And frankly, he's not even close. He's 11th on the list. He was not even in that
yeah,
ballpark. Excuse
ballpark.
me. That's what I'm trying to say here. So I'm trying to load my notes here. I think you just be the captain. You be the captain of this team. You are appointed to change the culture of Team USA and the Ryder Cup and all of this and the woes that have been there and the good old boy club and all of that. You've been appointed to kind of disrupt things and change things. And I think naming himself would be a discredit to that attempt in doing so because my argument here is Keegan Bradley that much better to make a significant difference on this team than say a Colin Morikawa, a Cam Young, Patrick Cantlay, someone of that would have to be left off this team. Is Keegan Bradley that much of an improvement over any of those names that being a player captain would justify that? Like I would understand if he was like seventh on the list or he just isn't that much better. And I wouldn't say he's better at all than Colin Morikawa or Patrick Cantlay, maybe Cam Young. But that's my argument. So just go be the captain, change the culture, get the win. And I'm at this point, I'm accepting that he is going to name himself. Reports are that coming out that he is going to name himself. He has an extra captain on his squad,
Yeah.
assuming that this is months ago that he appointed him, that he is going to be the captain. And then in the same sense, like I don't know. It's a weird spot. Like I don't know why the
It's
committee named
it's a
Keegan Bradley
lose-lose.
as their yeah. Because like if he names himself and they lose the Ryder Cup, it's because he named himself and he's the woe. If he doesn't name himself and they go on to win, like he could have named himself and won and be the player captain. But another argument is like, why is a player captain not a more common thing? Right? In
Right.
1963, I think was the last one with Arnold Palmer. And Arnold Palmer at the time was probably the greatest golfer in the world. So very far difference there. I don't know. It's a weird spot, and again, Keegan definitely deserves there to be there. He's, I don't know, at least top 13, 14 USA player in the world. So there is that argument to be made if you want to go that extent. But I just feel like he is not that much better, if at all, than a Colin Morikawa. And if he does name himself, so be it. What's he gonna do? Play a round or two? I don't think he's gonna go out there and play 3 or 4 matchups.
Yeah,
No, he's gonna play 1 or 2. So what's the sense of even doing that? Because you're not gonna play yourself that much.
I see the angle. It's just I if he wasn't the captain, I think he would be like one of my locks to like make this team. And I feel like he got burned last time. He deserves to be there. Um, it's just you're right. Like there's more to being the captain than just like, oh, like go out there and have fun. Like I don't need
Yeah,
to really
Xander and
think
Petra
about it.
go. Yeah,
Right.
like
Like there's a lot of game planning. There's going to be some late nights, especially early on. Like, let's say Team USA is down after day one. Like, Keegan's going to pull, he's going to have to stay up an extra 2, 3 hours and be like, game plan. Like, how do we get back in this? And like, what do we do? So, I mean, I hope we're not in that situation. I also
yeah.
hope that there's not the situation where it's a runaway. I don't think it will be, but you're right. Like, is he that much better than, some of these fringe guys? Probably not, but for Keegan's sake, I think he deserves it. He loves Northeast golf. That's where he
I will give
thrives.
you that. I will give you that.
And
Like,
it's just like, look, I even thought about in my last spot, I'm like, look, he's not going to do this, but like, Jordan Spieth has like an absolutely incredible record at Bethpage Black. He's finished T3 in 2019 with the PGA Championship and T10 in the 2016 when he played this. He doesn't deserve to be there, but like you said, he's going to disrupt the good old boys club. And if he didn't, it wouldn't surprise me if Spieth ended up on this team.
yeah, for sure. And, you know, I guess in the sense of if you're looking for someone with pride that cares more than most, it's going to be Keegan Bradley. And you mentioned
Yeah,
it being held in, the Northeast part of the country is massive because he is the spokesman of that area. I mean, he is kind of the head from New England. There are probably no other New England-based golfers. I mean, we have a few from upstate New York, Cam Young being one of those, and what is the other one? Sam Ryder maybe or someone like that. I don't know. Either way, he's kind of the figurehead of that, so I can see that angle. And I guess he has played Bethpage a lot, especially in college. I think he went to St. John's out of New York
yeah,
City, so like he's played the golf course a lot, but also, when was Keegan in college? That was probably what, 15 years ago at this
2012.
point. Yeah, so like the golf course definitely has changed in the last 13 years, and then setting up for two major sense and a Ryder Cup sense, like it's absolutely different. But either way, I don't believe that he should be a player, but also I guess I'm not going to be too upset if he is. And again, I think there is more to being a captain, but I think at this point it's so analytically driven that there are formulas and calculations that pretty much, if Team USA is up blah 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 and they need to do blah blah blah, like a formula spits out, oh okay, play Scotty with JJ and play Xander with Patrick, and then like that thing. I think there's a lot of that behind the scenes that no one knows about. So there is that aspect, and maybe there's less to being a captain than we think of. I mean, the
Yeah,
leading up part of it obviously is the most, with the name of the team and making the phone calls and all the media outlets and all of that. Maybe that's a bit of that. But also, Jake, I need to ask this question. Like, I know I personally don't believe Keegan Bradley should have been the captain yet. Who would have been the captain? Like, Team USA has like no
yeah.
options. Like, it's so weird because like our elite
Tiger.
golfers,
Tiger's not going to do
yeah,
it.
it's Tiger who's not going to do it, and then our other elite guy of that time period is Phil Mickelson who can't do it because he's on live.
No.
Like, there's no one left. I mean, we've recycled the same name before, the Jim Furyk's of the world, all those type of guys, and then this year our vice captains are Kevin Kistner, Webb Simpson, Brant Snedeker, and Gary Woodland. Like, what are we doing? Like, how do we not have a better option than a darn
A
near what?
guy, right.
Yeah, a guy still in the prime of his golfing career. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know who the next wave is and like what they're going to do with that, but certainly should not have been Keegan. It's just he's just let him play. Like, why is he got to be bothered with this? I mean, look, I'm sure he's elated to be the
Oh my
captain and
gosh,
like
yeah, I don't
he's
think you can ever be
you
like,
can't turn it
oh, dude,
down.
yeah,
You
like,
can't turn it down unless your name is Tiger Woods. But like
yeah, he
it's
did
one of
turn it
those
down.
that
So
like he kind of got screwed by being named the captain at the same time. And I think he realized that.
Yeah, for sure. Like we've been
They
over this
kind of
so
were
many
like,
times.
"Hey, Keegan, like this is your handout.
Yep.
Don't play. Like we're naming you the captain. Like you should not be playing." But I think he's deserved it. But I guess just to round it out, like my thoughts here is like the absolute locks of the pick should be Justin Thomas, Patrick
Yes.
Cantlay, Sam Burns, and Ben Griffin. I don't really care about those
Yep.
last two spots. Like I don't have a problem any way that they go for those last
Well,
two spots.
realistically, those last two spots are, like I said, probably play a round or two. Like it's not going to
Right.
be, they're not going out there and playing all five matchups, right? It's going to be one or two plug and play type of guys. So again, if it is Keegan, so be it, right? I guess
Yeah.
it would be cool. And in Keegan's aspect, I mean, he can go down and make some history here if he is a player captain that wins. Like you're going to be written down in the golf folklore for the longest time. So yeah.
Yeah, the biggest problem I would have is Ben Griffin not making this team, and I think that there's some, I think there's a lot of people on that bandwagon of like, look, he could be a fringe guy. Like, Ben Griffin's not your household name out of this list, and he's a rookie, hasn't played in a Ryder Cup, but like at the same time, he is arguably outside of Justin Thomas, like the most deserving
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
and should be a no-brainer.
100%. All right, Jake, we still have another team to talk about here. We can't be rambling for too long about Team USA, but
This one will be
uh,
quicker.
I think Team Europe is pretty straightforward. Like, if you have a spot, it's one spot, and even then, it's pretty much wrapped up with Rasmus Højgaard playing himself onto the team.
Yep.
So, automatic qualifiers, you have the Rory McIlroy, Robert McIntyre, Tommy Fleetwood, Justin Rose, Rasmus Højgaard, and Tyrrell Hatton. Rasmus Højgaard played himself in with last week's Betfred British Masters. And it's kind of weird to believe that, he had the sixth most points of anyone on Team Europe because Rasmus did not have a good season whatsoever. But either way, I guess consistency and just playing a lot of tournaments get yourself across that line. All right, Jake, very quick here. Some of these guys are going to be pretty straightforward. First one being John Rahm. You don't leave John Rahm at home. I mean, you're talking about a top
No.
five, maybe top three or four golfer in the world, 6-3 and 3 at the Ryder Cup. I don't think there's an argument against that.
No, I've got nothing to add there. He had a great year on Live. Did he go winless though? It
Yeah, he
was
went
one of
winless on Live, but
yeah,
won the Live championship over, Joakim Niemann, who had 5 wins on Live.
yeah. It's hilarious. I mean,
But I think he had like an average finishing placement of like third or something across all 13 events, like something
yeah,
insane. Like everything was a top five, just never won. I mean, the last 2 weeks he lost in a playoff. So like, yeah, he
yeah.
was there all season long.
Yeah, I guess just a quick note on John Rahm that I alluded to earlier is like we can get under his skin. Like I'm perfectly biased and I'll put my hand out there. I want Team USA to win. I'm not cheering for Europe under any circumstances. I know people have said, "Oh, if this player doesn't get picked, I'm not going to cheer for
Oh
them." Blah blah
yeah,
blah. I
I've
think
seen
that's a
that
whole baloney. But I think that John Rahm is a player that the US can definitely get under their skin, and he's a guy who's a hothead who can get frustrated, similar to Cyril Hatton, that I think the US can take advantage of.
for sure. All right, moving on. You got the Shane Lowrys of the world. I don't think you leave Shane Lowry at home. I know his Ryder Cup
Yeah.
record isn't great, but he's a guy who's been around for a long time, former major winner, had a quietly pretty good season this year. And of course, if you ever need to plug in with Rory, they make a good duo as well. But Shane Lowry seems like a lock as well.
Yep, I agree. And he ended the season in like some pretty not so good form. He started out really hot. So again, I hope he gets picked because that's better for Team USA. He has not been playing his best golf as of recent.
Not at all. Then we move on to Ludwig Oberg, who's going to be on this team nonetheless. Got his
Yeah.
victory early this season, his maiden, I was just trying to say his maiden PJ Tour, but like his signature PJ Tour being an elevated event back at the Genesis Invitational. He's not been great, right? He's one of those like super hot or super cold type of golfers where he has like an insane round, but then can never, put 3 or 4 rounds together. We both were on him recently, if I forget what day or what event that was, where he did that, but he's still an elite talent. Super Young was on the 2023 team when they won, so he's on the squad as well.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer for me. He fits Bethpage really well.
Oh
I
yeah,
would
that
not
too.
want to face up against him.
And the final, like I would say, for sure, lock is Victor Hovland. In
Yeah.
my opinion, I mean, this is still a very, very good golfer. Another hot and cold type of guy with a short game that can really mess things up for him. But again, just a guy who's been around for a very long time, and it seems like forever, even though he's still rather young. I think this will be his third uh Ryder Cup, 3-4 and
Yep.
3
Yep.
record. But beyond that, you don't leave Victor Howell at home either.
No, he is so elite on the ball striking. You're right. You covered it. He's going to make this team.
So there's two spots left here. We're pretty straightforward to this point, and probably these two last spots are straightforward as well. There are a few names who can do a possibly do a disruption along the way, especially with one more week. I know it's not potential for an automatic qualifier, but with Team Europe naming their squad on Monday, the Omega European Masters will be completed before then. So if one of these two guys that is not on my list go on to win, or even one of these guys on my list, if they are win, it'll cement themselves as a pick on the squad, in my opinion. So my first play here is Matt Fitzpatrick. Again, end of the PGA Tour season in some great form after a pretty shaky start and a pretty shaky 2024 season overall, but some good form to end the season. His Ryder Cup record is atrocious, though. I think he's 1-7 through two Ryder Cups. Not great, and I don't know if he fits Bethpage well either. So he's a guy that I would potentially consider if I was a Team Europe to, if I was Luke Donald, maybe to look past and try to bring in some new blood because that's what Team USA does. That Team Europe has done that Team USA is not for years. Is cycle in these young guys to fill the void, hungry people looking to make the name for themselves, and that's been the difference maker so many times for Team Europe. So is it now time to maybe go with I will say I'm not sure if any of these guys are on your team, but a Marco Penge who's been playing some of the best golf of the DP World Tour we've seen in a very long time. Maybe a Nikolai Hogard who's having a fantastic end of the season and previously part of the team. How cool would it be if two brothers, let alone twin brothers, were representing Team Europe from the Ryder Cup? That'd be a story in itself as well. But yeah, there are some great options outside of these guys. But Matt Fitzpatrick here is on my list right now. He's playing in Switzerland this week for the European Masters. If he were to win that, that'll definitely, no doubt about it, secure him a spot. But yeah, he's on my squad right now.
Yeah, he's a lock for me, honestly. He's
Okay.
seven of his last eight starts, he has top 20 finishes. He's just ended the season in such good form. Like you said, not a good Ryder Cup record and not necessarily the greatest fit for Bethpage unless it gets really windy, which I've played that course and it certainly can get windy. But uh, I think he's a lock. I think he's just playing too well to pass up. I think this last spot, this guy that we're going to talk about, is the biggest question mark for me, but not even at the same time.
Yeah, this is absolutely insane. Team Europe has a chance to bring 11 of their 12 players from 2023, which I don't think that's even, I'm not sure what the record is or like how many returning players a squad has brought from, one Ryder Cup to the other, but 11 of 12 may be the record. Usually it's what, 7, 8, somewhere around
Yeah.
there. So yeah, that's something crazy. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything going on with this final guy. And at this point, it's Sepp Straka, had to
Yeah.
withdraw from the BMW Championship. That's kind of, we don't know what really happened there. I guess it was a private family matter, so we're unsure of that. But, two wins on the PGA Tour season with a signature event, the Truist Championship, at a fantastic event down there at the Cricket Club. That turned out to be a wonderful, wonderful event. He is a very statistical master. He always pops in every model for every golf course. He's very good in that. But he's a great like a bomb and gouger. If the putter cooperates for him, he's a fantastic iron player with some plus distance off the tee. Plays these type of golf courses rather well, so I think he's going to be on this team no matter what. I guess just whatever that looming family matter is that is quoted as his reason to withdraw from the BMW. I'm not quite sure. Played in the Ryder Cup, was a captain pick last time around, was 1-2, so not fantastic, but still get a victory there. So at this point, this is the question mark, right? Sepp Straka, what's going on with him if he is playing? I mean, he ended the season not in the best of form either. And then this is where the Marco Penge of the world, if Penge or Nikolai go on to win at the Omega European Masters, I think you would have to omit Sepp Straka for one of those two.
Yeah, I look, Straka, two wins on the PGA Tour season, definitely hard to ignore. The irons have cooled off completely. The putter has looked a little bit lost. He's definitely lost some steam come the ends of this year. I would love to see him on Bethpage for Team USA's purposes. I don't think that he is going to play great. Like if he's out there, I'm going to be a happy camper because it's just not going to be pretty for him. But I think there's another name that we need to throw into the ring here, and I think it's Alex Noren. I'm on him for this week in an outright for, and I think it's because he went out and won the Betfred. If he goes out and wins again this week, I don't think it could be ignored because the putter has been nuclear. The irons have been nuclear. Like he's a horrible fit. Like he is not long off the tee. He's rather accurate, which, is fine. But at the same time, this guy kind of disappeared, came back. I'm not sure exactly what was going on. Disappeared is a
I
bad
think he
word
was
for that. But
injured.
yeah, all right. So if he was injured, he came back during this season on the PGA Tour, kind of crappy form. All of a sudden, the 3M comes around a T7, a T3 at the Wyndham, wins last week at the Betfred. I think if he wins this week, he's definitely entered his name into the question, but I don't think I mean, I guess Penge might have a better chance like if he wins, and I would be for that last spot. I do not want to see Marco Penge at Bethpage Black. I think this is a great course
Yeah.
for him. I think I'd rather see in the order. I would go Noren, Straka, Penge of people I want to see as a USA supporter. Um, but I think at the end of the day, we're going to end up with Sepp Straka there. It's going to be
Yep.
pretty straightforward. Even if Penge wins, I don't know if that gets him there.
Yeah, some other names that have been circulating around, like the Aaron Rise of the world. Don't Not enough there, not even close. And
No.
then Harry Hall, who had a fantastic season as well, and is kind of like Team Europe's equivalent of, say, like a Sam Burns, right? Who
Yeah.
is an elite putter. I'm not sure what his distance is off the tee, but kind of that version. But I don't think there's enough there either to upset one of these names. But I think, Team Europe is a lot more straightforward than Team USA. I think that's for sure.
Oh, I'm looking at Penja's profile now. I think that if he wins, that is going to be dicey. It would be his third win on the PGA or on the DP World Tour this season. I didn't realize he had two.
Yeah,
It,
and yeah, because I was on him in the Hainan Classic as well. But
yep.
yeah, this is like the same thing with Robert McIntyre, 2023. He was a DP World Tour guy when they took him to, and that was kind of like a big controversy thing. And then he was fantastic in the Ryder Cup.
Yeah. Oh my God. If he wins this week, I
Yeah,
don't
you
want to
can't.
see him. I don't want to see him at Bethpage because he is a bomber with elite irons. His short game's kind of crappy, but like, oh, I wouldn't want to see him. And I I'm gonna I'm gonna tweet something out a little bit later in the week once the teams are announced. But at the end of the day, like people are freaking out. Like Team USA isn't in the best form. Europe might, I am like, I don't think you need to be worried. Like, the top end of Team USA is better than the top end
Oh,
of Europe. And I'm happy to take my chances with Ben Griffin versus Sepp Straka, or Ben Griffin versus Matt Fitzpatrick, or Hovland or Aberg, who have been rather inconsistent this year. I'm not I'm not as worried as other people have led me to believe that they actually are. Penge is a guy I would not want to go against either. Like if he wins this week and gets himself onto this team, that is a scary guy to go against.
yeah, I was just about to ask you what your prediction was for this Ryder Cup, Jake, if it were to fall in the way we are predicting here. But yeah, I mean, Team USA, you have the best golfer in the world by far in Scotty Scheffler. I mean, when Xander's on, you're talking about the second or third best golfer in the world. You have Bryson DeChambeau, probably a top five guy, right? Your top five golfers when everything's in a vacuum. You have the Scotty, Rory, John Rahm, Bryson, and Xander. Like those are your top five, and three of those United States guys. I adore JJ Spawn in this spot. I think this is fantastic. He spoke about it. He's going to play with such raw emotion.
Yep.
He's going to be that like I don't know, just kind of like that figurehead for USA excitement, just giddy to be there and ready to play some great golf for his country. I absolutely do love that. I said this for the Team USA in 2023 as well. From top to bottom on paper, Team USA should come in here and win by a mile. And then they got mopped up in Rome in
Yeah.
2023. I'm not saying that again, but I do think this Team USA team is much better and much suited to, go at a Bethpage Black type of golf course. Hopefully, for our sake, Jake, Team USA gets it done, and we're celebrating on the 18th green with them come Sunday.
Yeah, that's the goal here. And yeah, like people are freaking out about Team USA. Like I understand that like look, it's not pretty to have like people don't know JJ Spawn that well. Like the back end of the team, like a Keegan, a Cam Young, a Morikawa who's like not in the greatest form. Like but at the end of the day, like you have, like I just said before, Aberg inconsistent, Hovland inconsistent, Fitzpatrick, horrible Ryder Cup record, Shane Lowry, not in good form. Like all of these captains' picks for Europe, like yeah, it's pretty straightforward for us, but at the end of the day, like these guys aren't in the best form either. And I'm much more confident in the top half of USA to beat the top half of Europe. And I'm happy to take coin flips the rest of the way. And I think that Team USA gets it done. I don't think it's going to be a sweep by any means. I think it's going to come down to some Sunday golf, hopefully for our matter. But like you said, I'm hoping to celebrate with you and Team USA and hopefully not get decked by a security guard like Adam Hadwin.
I will say this. I just hope and I pray to the golf gods that we get to see like a Scotty Bryson duo at least in one of these things. How electric would that be to see those
Oh
two on
yeah.
the same foursome or four ball? Like that would be amazing. Like I hope that happens.
Yeah. And like I said at the beginning, I want to see Patrick Cantlay just freaking piss someone off. Like I
Yep.
want to see him with Hatton and Hatton yelling at a rules official because this guy's so freaking slow and he waggles his feet 300 times. Like I'm gonna for sure be following Cantlay because I think he's just meant for these events and he's gonna play the villain role. And look, I think there is still an argument for Patrick Reed to make the team. Like if
Oh
Keegan
God,
didn't
I
name
love
himself,
Patrick Reed.
yeah, look, there was a question and then he kind of just played himself out of it because
Yeah,
we don't see him enough. But the end of the day, like if Keegan doesn't play and he scratches himself and puts in one of Cam Young and Morikawa and fills the last spot with Patrick Reed, one drama, two, oh, I would love it. I think so many people would be like, that's the ballsy move
that's
that
it.
we needed.
Yeah, because again, you're not putting Patrick Reed out there for five events. You're putting him out there for one or two. And, say you match him up with John Rahm or Terrell Hatton or Bobby Mack just to
Get him.
piss him off. That's all you need to do and get him rallied up for the final, two events need be. I'm all here for Patrick Reed. I still think he's a fantastic golfer. He got to win in the Live Golf this season, and he played well at the Masters, I believe. Second
Yeah.
half of the majors were not the best there, but man, I would adore that through and through, and I'm here for it, Keegan. Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not going to happen, but we
No,
could dream. We have a couple more hours to dream.
we do. All right. Speaking of that, Jake, we do have another golf event to talk about right quick. I know we've been rambling for probably an hour at this point about the Ryder Cup, but we do need to get on about the Omega European Masters. I'm on the wrong event here, but this is an event that we're at the staples of the DP World Tour schedule, the back nine, I think it's called. But yeah, the Crans, where are we at here? The Cross sur Sierre golf course has hosted this event since 1923, as originally the Swiss Open was part of the DP World Tour schedule since its inception in 1972. And again, with the PGA Tour season come to an end, the Ryder Cup coming up, there are plenty of PGA Tour regulars teaming up this week in this field. You have the likes of Matt Fitzpatrick, along with Wyndham Clark, Patrick Rogers, Eric Van Rooyen, Nikolai Hogard, Rasmus Hogard, Alex Noren, Matt Wallace, Sammy Valimaki, Thurston Lawrence, and Matteo Manacero. Of course, you have your regular DP World Tour guys, John Perry, Keita Nakajima, Marco Penge. We talked about Hotong Lee, Martin Kuvra, Jordan Smith, agents there, Rasmus Niergaard Peterson, and Eugenia Shikara. Wallace comes in the defending champion, having won in a playoff over Alfredo Garcia Herrera in a season ago. And beyond that, there is a slew of former champions, including Lawrence in 2022, Rasmus Hogard 21, Sebastian Soderberg in 2019, Matt Fitzpatrick in 17-18, Alex Nord himself in 2009 and 2016, Danny Will in 2015. So yeah, this is one of the most picturesque golf settings in the entire world, with a spectacular view of the Crans Montana mountain range at all times for this golf course. Par 70 at 68, 24 yards. Established in 1908. Of course, has been tweaked and modified since 1999. A redesign was spearheaded by Steve Ballesteros. Another set of changes came in 2013. A bunch of changes throughout the way, guys. In a golf course this old, it has to keep adapting along the way. The fairways are sloped and are mostly tree lined. They're also average in terms of width in the DP World Tour schedule. The greens are added challenge to this golf course. They are small and shaped like upturned saucers, meaning that if you don't hit the middle of them, everything basically runs off. Waters on play on 6 holes this week. Hole 6 and 7 are short drivable par fours. Par 5 14th plays at the easiest hole of the golf course. Golf course also sits at altitude, so even 6,800 yards in the scorecard, which is still low, will play even shorter than that. Beyond that, an average score of seven or minus 17 to minus 19 has won sixth of the last 10 events. So yeah, you got to find these small greens in regulation. Pretty much the key to victory here. Jake, anything to add?
No, I think you covered it all.
All right, Jake, I got three guys this week. I know you got five, so let's you kick it off here.
Yeah, I'll rattle my plays off pretty quickly. I
Yep.
went with Alex Noren because I think that, look, a lot of people are going to Nikolai because they're like, if he wins, he's in the Ryder Cup conversation. Um, I felt that way about Noren, and he came off a win last week. He is putting the ball nuclear. He is hitting the ball absolutely phenomenally with his irons. He finds those fairways. I just think that this is a golf course that you could plot your way around and win. He's also a phenomenal around the green player. I think that this is a course built for him in a way. I boosted him up. He won this in 2016. He has some good course history outside of that as well, with a T6 in 2017 and a T9 in 2011. Um, that's where I went with my first play here.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, kind of you, not Alex Noren, but I went Matt Fitzpatrick myself.
Yep.
And at 9 to 1, I boosted him up to about, I think it's 1375. So just shy of 1400 is where I got him. And I'm fantastic with that number. But even at
Yeah.
9 to 1, I think this is a golf course, and the way he's playing right now is fantastic. On the DP World Tour alone, he's fourth in putting, 10th in birdie or better, 14th in scrambling, 23rd on approach, 25th off the tee. Two-time winner in this golf event. I know it's been a bit of a time, but we're talking about a guy who was sixth last week at the Betfred British Masters. He also placed 17th at the BMW Championship of the PGA Tour, 32nd at the FedEx St. Jude, 8th at the Wyndham, 4th at the Open, 4th at the Scottish Open, 8th at the Rocket Classic. 27th here a season ago, T3 in 2023. Of course, one in 18 and 17, T7 2016, and second in 2015. This is a golf course where course history is prevalent, very strong. Way Matt
Yep.
Fitzpatrick's playing. He's been out of the win column for some time now. A win here at a Filmera golf course would do him very well, especially going into a Ryder Cup where, he's kind of on the outskirts, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think it's a tune-up spot for Fitzpatrick. I think that he's comfortable playing in Europe. He had a great week last week. He's already there. Doesn't hurt to tee it up again this week. Um, Look, maybe there was a phone call made to him saying, "Hey, play these couple weeks. I want to see a couple more rounds under your belt, Matt. Let's see what you've got." There's going to be some added motivation. You got a great number. I think 9 to 1 is more than fair. A little shorter than I would like to go personally, but I see the angle there for sure.
Yeah, and that's why I have a three-man card. And going
Yep.
back to your Ryder Cup conversation, when we have the Nikolais of the world, the Rasmuses, and the Marco Paynes playing every single week, and you think Fitzpatrick, if he were to be a lock, he wouldn't be playing, straight from the BMW, not making the Tour Championship, the bouncing straight over to England and playing last week and this week. There's got to be something to that and his need to do that. So I really believe that he is motivated too to get a victory here, and kind of maybe there's some haters or something in the background, kind of maybe get him pushed off the team, but he's here to play some good golf and play himself back on.
Yeah, definitely. And my next play here is his brother, Alex Fitzpatrick, on
Yep.
the most tips chart. I think he's probably the most tipped this week. Like you said, very sticky course history here, and he had a T5 in 2023 and a T6 in 2024. To back that, he had a T8 last week at the Betfred British Masters. So coming in on good form as of very, very, very recent and great course history at 60 to 1. It felt like a no-brainer first click for me. Not the best season, but he's littered a couple of top 20s in there as well. And look, there's no Ryder Cup conversation, but at the same time, it doesn't hurt to play good golf and win a golf tournament. So I went with Fitzpatrick, the other one, at 60 to 1.
Yeah, no, he's been playing some good golf quietly in the background as well, and he has a good course history here, so might as well. And let's move on to the next guy here. This is a guy I absolutely love this week, Francisco Laporte at 45 to 1. Falling out of form a bit as of late after a rather impressive stretch earlier this season. Missed the cut his last two outings at the British Masters and Mexico Championship. But prior to that, 50th at the Genesis, 7th at the BMW International Open, not to be confused with the BMW Championship of the PGA Tour, 10th at the Italian Open, 7th at the KLM, 27th at the Austrian Open, and 11th at the Sudal Open. 27th here a season ago and T16th in 2022. Currently fifth on tour on par three, seventh in bogey avoidance, eighth in both scrambling and par fours, 14th driving accuracy, 19th off the tee, 34th at green regulations, 35th approach, 50th birdie or better, and 77th in stroke same putting. a nice number for a guy with some decent course history, stats wise, fantastic here. And I know he's missed his cut his last two events, but we're talking about a links course, brand new links course, the Nexo, and then a big challenge last week at the Betfred British Masters. I think this is more of a tune for Francisco Laporta, as shown with his course history.
Yeah, definitely. And he missed the cut on the number in both of those
Yes.
recent, so it's not all too alarming, right? But yeah, I see the angle there. I like the play on Laporta. I think it's a very good number. If he kept that run of form going, that 45 probably would have been slashed for
Yes,
sure.
for sure.
Okay, I'm going into my next play here. It's going to be Oliver Lindell at 80 to 1. I thought that number was just way too big. Another very popular guy this week for great reason, in my opinion. Back-to-back top 10 finishes at the next go in the Danish Golf Championship. He is striking the ball absolutely beautifully. The putter has been green in his last five starts. Um, it's the off the tee where he just is a consistent loser. He's more accurate than he has distance, so I'm just hoping that he can find enough fairways to score with those irons and with the putter. Um, that being said, he's a rookie this year, yes, on the DP World Tour, so no course history here. Time to get some results on the board here, but coming in on some good form, 80 to 1, just couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, big number. He was one of the guys first names off my list here, and I opted for Matt Fitzpatrick. I went with a different car than I typically would do with three men there being so short. But yeah, everything right there for you. I mean, you're talking about guys in the most tip chart for a reason. It's not because they were just random names you drew out of a hat. It's because everything matches up for a solid week. So another good play there. Running up my card here, I have a guy at 125 to 1, or excuse me, 150 to 1. That's Jason Scrivener. And just talk about some course form here, right? This is a guy who plays this golf course rather well. He maybe finished T fourth here a season ago, T 36th in 2023. And he's found some form as of late. 24th last week at the Betfred British Masters, 12th at the Danish Golf Championship, 42nd at the Nexo, and 8th at the Barracuda Championship. Talk about the course history here. Stats wise, currently 22nd in par fours, 23rd accuracy, 26th bogey avoidance, 51st scrambling, 61st on approach, 62nd in par threes, 67th in grid regulations. The list goes on and on right there. Again, a big number for a guy who was a top five finish here a season ago. Has another top 30 at this golf course in the last 2 years, running some form as well. So it's worth a stab in the dark.
Yeah, I was between him and one of my next two plays here. He is 36 years old. He does not have a win under his belt. That is why I'm not on him. But at the same time, I'll let Jason Scribner beat me. I've said that on PGA Tour, and it's burned me so many times with Rory winning the Masters, Cam Young, and now Tommy
Yes.
Fleetwood. So look, it could be Jason Scrivener's time.
Yeah, right there up there with those three names for sure.
Exactly. He's number four, the next one on the tip of your tongue. But
There you go.
Okay, so I'll just rattle off my next two
Yes,
plays
sir.
pretty quickly. Marcel Seam at 100 to 1.
Yep.
This guy's been around the block. He's 45 years old. A T8 at the Betfred British Masters last week. Uh, made the cut T34 at the Genesis Scottish Open, his start before that. He's played this tournament a bajillion times, and by that I mean like 12. Four top 20 finishes. That's good enough for me. A six-time DP World Tour champion. I was between him and Scrivener, and I said, Seems won six times. I'm gonna just take him at 100 to 1. But look, he's been very accurate, or he's been rather accurate off the tee. The putter's been cooperating. He's just got to roll with those irons a little bit for me. And then my last play here is going to be Davis Bryan at 250 to 1 as I type his name in. Sorry about that. So he's a very accurate off the tee guy, which I like in this golf course. He's a good putter as well. The irons are very inconsistent, but he gained over a stroke per round at the Betfred when he finished T13. He's had some spike finishes across the DP World Tour this year. BMW International Open, he had a T4. Italian Open, he had a T10. Um, Good enough for me. 250 to 1, $10. Morning coffee to win a vacation. That's what I like to say.
There you go. All right, guys, that's it for the Omega European Masters. Of course, a lot of meaningful golf still left on the DP World Tour schedule. And of course, most of the Ryder Cup team will probably be in attendance at Wentworth here in a week or two. And hopefully, Team USA learned something and are in action at the Procore Championship in a week or two as well. Get that final tune-up in before that final trip up to Bethpage Black here in about a month's time. So yeah, let us know what you guys think about our squads. I'm sure at this point, if you're listening to this podcast, Keegan has come on and announced his squad either way. But yeah, I guess one more time before I hop off here, Jake, with providing social media.
Yep, you can find me at DJ Friedman on Twitter. I post all my content there, so be sure to check it out. Be sure to join our Discord completely free. There's some additional exclusive content from Nate and myself, so if you're interested in that, be sure to check it out. No hidden paywalls. Once you're in there, you have access to everything. So again, just reach out to us and we'll get you in there.
For sure. You can follow myself, Nate, on Twitter at WKF Nate. Be sure to follow We Know Fantasy on all forms of social media at We Know Fantasy. Be sure to visit We Know Fantasy.com for some more fantasy sports content. Until next time, guys, we'll see you.